Turk asked when I was going to do the Mega Beedrill, power rankings and talk about those. And yeah, so I decided that I need the honey. I'm going to do it for all of the divisions. Although I'm probably not the most qualified person to be doing it on a video, at least. I could definitely make power rankings on like a sheet or something. I'm still probably not the most qualified, especially for like Beedrill, Mega Beedrill. I could do easier like lower level leagues because I know more like if there's a draft that doesn't look right, it's wrong in a lower level league usually. So I'll just try to as best as I can bring you my personal opinion on how I think the drafts are. And I'm going to do it pretty similar to Beedrill. I'm going to pick out the two best from each division. The colors represent the divisions, and basically that's just how I'm going to do it. So Dilwar drafted, yeah. I've watched, what John and I think it was might have been Illusion, but I think it was do an analysis on Mega Beedrill already, and they mentioned that it was kind of a standard team, and it does have some of like the most standard cores in there. It has Sand, Coco, and like a regen core. But Sand and Slowbro is actually really good, and I already know that I've seen it. I've seen it play out. And it was really good. Like Mungus is decent with Slowbro, I would say. Though to me, where the draft kind of is a little iffy is like ground checks. Like Coco, Excadrill, Gigalith, and Zard X are all weak to ground, and then like your best answer really is like Slowbro, which is not really like an immunity or resist, and then you have Togetic and Mismagius, which are immunities, but then neither one are very bulky. And then Quagsire is physically bulky, so it could potentially work out that. And then Hawlucha, it's immune, but it's not really for it. That's not its purpose. But I think Coco, which is very scary, and Zard X is also like just good, and I think it pairs relatively well with the team. It's like a really pretty scary, like almost it's pretty offensive, I'd say, a team. I don't like how his Sand is his only rockers. I heard the other two say that on theirs, but yeah, I think it's a really scary team. And its removal is like Togetic, I don't know, Excadrill, Coco, Lucha, and Zard X, which is mediocre. So it's not like hazard oriented, but it's just a scary offensive team that has like good regen core right here. Has Quagsire, which Quagsire, yeah, you saw Diller use Quagsire last season. It was really good, the way he used it. So I think this is one of the better teams. I thought it was really scary when I saw it. I mean, the other I have to agree with John, and I think this is probably one of the better drafts. One of my favorites, even though it's yeah, it's just a good draft. So John W's draft, he drafted Kangaskhan Mega, and I personally don't think it's like so bad, but I don't think it's like top 5 necessarily. It might be top 5. It's not the best Mega. It's not like but it's top 10 for sure. I think it's top 10. But like this draft, he drafted Vitribel around 4, which is just out of place. And Gyarados with Sun, I don't really love that, but I mean it does get Z bounce, and it could make work happen, and he doesn't have to bring Sun and Gyarados. Until you factor in that his only other rocker other than Torkoal is Garchomp, so he might actually have to bring Sun and Gyarados, which is just iffy in general. And I don't know how I feel about that. And Crest is really just a great wall. So like anything that just nothing really hits Crest hard. So that's always scary in prep. But for like dark resist and stuff like that, he only has Hitmonlee and Persian Alola, which is not really the best, especially because Victini, is weak to dark, and that's one of his key mons. And then he has Cresselia, which is one of his key defensive mons, and that's also weak to dark. So I don't know how I feel about that either. I'm personally not a big fan of Garchomp. Other people are. I'm not. So just I don't know. And then I guess Scissor can take out Fairies for Garchomp. And then like Grass type too it can pivot out on them. This draft doesn't have an electric type though, so its only grass type is Victreebel, so it does struggle a little bit against bulky waters, but Victini still has good coverage for them, so you can make that work. Also, Kangaskhan is just a monster of a breaker, so that always could work out. So for me with this draft, I think it's all right. I think Dewar's draft is a lot better though. Its removal though is like Scissor, Crobat, Torkoal, Hitmonlee. So I mean he has a lot of removal, I guess. A lot of options. So yeah, I mean there's some good value to be found with like Gyarados, but I don't know how I feel about this team. Um, I'm not really a fan of it. With John's team, yeah. So I have in the other analysis they say Volbeat, Orcorio, and Gastrodon are like the big unmons on the team. I think Gastrodon's fine. And what John said in the video, and I have to agree. With that, I think Gastrodon's a fine mon. It's just, especially when you have another ground type. But I think Sylveon is not really a fine mon. I think maybe it's okay for its position. Because I probably I'm just gonna assume that Forges went before it did. Um, I'm not seeing Forges actually. Did Forges go undrafted? My bad. I'm just check. I have to check this. Yeah, undrafted. Okay, that's Unmon. Yeah, I really disagree with that. I think Forges is better than Sylveon. In almost every way. Forges is just the only thing it doesn't do better is Wish Wish Pass, and everything on the team like that's actually bulky gets recovery. So I don't really understand the purpose of it. Forges actually has glass 4 moveset syndrome, and it gets to fog. The only thing it doesn't get is baton pass with a wish, and there's one. Hyper voice. The thing about hyper voice. Okay, I just need to explain that too. Hyper voice is bad because throat trap. Throat trap was introduced, and like fighting types and dark types, a lot of them, which are what part of what Sylveon loves to deal with, it can't deal with them anymore. And it's shut down by the same thing Forges is, and Forges can run an extra move like aromatherapy along with its calm mind sets. So I think, unless you're calm mind passing or wish passing, there's no reason to pick Sylveon. And if you have Volbeat, you know, it just doesn't make any sense, okay? Um, so I really dislike that. But his rocks, he has Skarmory, Lycanroc Dusk, Nidoking, and Bisharp. See, I'm personally not a big fan of Skarmory either, but I think it works well with Miniature Mega. I've actually just seen it work well in the league, so I guess that I'm not going to really knock on it too much, especially because it allowed him to get Bisharp because it's such a good steal. It allowed him to get Bisharp later on, which is actually another rocker. Um, but his removal is Skarm and Oricorio and yeah, Volbeat. So yeah, most of his removal is just kind of absent. Oh, and he is Storm T, so I guess he does have some removal. Um, and hmm, his team isn't really that fast. He just has Lycanroc Dusk and Torn, but that's enough really to manage. Um, Torn, it could kind of. I mean, both of its weaknesses are actually eaten by actually no, not Torrent. I mean, Bisharp eats most of his weaknesses, but it doesn't need electric. And he has two ground types, so basically that. I mean, that's enough. He has good special and physical wall breakers. I think he has a fine draft. But he has some unmons on it. Volbeat, I guess, he won him a championship, so I'm not. I'm not. I guess you could say that's fine. And Oricario, I actually don't think is bad. Because but it doesn't really fit on non-stall teams. To be honest, its real weakness is like just rock in general because physical. They're always physical, pretty much. And Oricorio actually can beat like special offense. Just commanding up, roosting, and just taking out teams. Um, so yeah, and then Hiker Toad's team. Yeah, he picked Bronzer, and I'm interested to see how that's going to be done. That's going to be used. He has some Mesprit, Bronzong, Archeops, and Clefable are his rockers with Gliscor. So those are all that combined, those are all like that's solid rockers. His removal is Redum Heat, Gliscor, and Archeops. That's okay. Mega Zam is a monster. And I think Weavile supports that by pursuit trapping like ghosts that potentially could be scarfed. You could run like Scarf Weavile, or he could trap bulk your psychic types. Um, yeah. So and I think Run Heat makes a little bit of sense with Archeops because it can lead it in and switch in on its weaknesses, except for Rock. And the team actually has a. I guess it doesn't have that many good Rock switches. Edgequake, and I guess that's one perk of having Bronzer is that it's like an Edgequake answer. Because it doesn't really have that many, but Suicune, I mean, can pretty much do that just off its sheer bulk. So yeah, and I think Magnezone works pretty well to trap steel types because steel types can be like a problem for like Clefable, maybe Weavile or I don't know. So for me, the best two teams here, um, though I think Dilwar has the best team in the yellow, and it is no question about that. But if I were to choose another team, I would take out John W. I don't really like his team that much, um, personally. So it's either Lejon or Hiker, and I I'm just gonna go off what I would personally use first. I think I would personally use Lejon's team before I would use Hiker's team. So I'm gonna put Lejon and Dilwar like as probably the top two in the yellow. And then there's this red row. First of and I think having Thunder T and Celestia sounds like just like scary, and then Milotic, also it can deal with like fire types. So and I think Mudsdale is a great ground type, honestly. I I think it's just solid. It's just solid. Mega Alt, there's too much hate for. I actually like a lot of this team. I think it's built pretty well. I don't really have too much of a knock on it. Um, I think it's one of the better teams. It just works out um, pretty well, and it has some really solid threats. Um, well, the only issue I guess I could point out is it doesn't have a dark type. but psychic types aren't super good against this, I guess, because it has Steela and it has Chandelure, which can break them. But and then it has like good haze with melodic. So I think it's fine. Uh, I think it's a pretty good team. Uh, yeah. So then Rob's squad. Um, hmm. Rob has some like great priority with the zoo and Bronzong there. Um, and side guard. That thing has extreme speed, so it's he built around a Houndoom Mega like way differently than I did. And I don't know how I feel about the way he built around it. It feels like the defense is in like the wrong spot almost. Well, I guess he has like Valplume, which can kind of deal with stuff for Mega Doom, which yeah, that works out. I didn't notice Valplume there. I was just seeing Breloom. Um, so I mean, it looks all right. It has two ground types. I think that's always a good thing. Its hazards are pretty good, I guess. Its removal, its removal's right. It's all right, but it's not superb. It's like it's good considering that his draft isn't really hazard weak, other than Houndoom. So yeah, this draft is okay. It's probably like one of the worst drafts though against like dragons, other than having Bronzong, which is pretty nice, and possibly Silvally Fairy or Steel or whatever. But I think it's pretty weak to dragons in general, and it has a zoo, but that could I don't I think it's pretty weak to dragons in general. This just is. But it does have answers still. Okay, Bronzong, Azu, Silvally, and Scarf Frostlass. That's enough. I think it's one of the more weak to dragon teams so far. We can look at like Hiker, who had Weavile, uh, and then he has like Bronzong and Clefable, and he has Magnetism, which can run like an air balloon and beat some dragons. So that's great. He could have Scarf Archeops, which is like a rock. I mean, Rob, I guess, could have Scarf Nihilego. That works as well. But John had Icon Dusk, Skarmory, and Sylveon, which is great. And then he has like priority right there, but this priority doesn't beat dragons on Rob's team. John W. I mean, he had Cress, I guess, and he didn't have a fairy actually, and he had like Scarf Chomp, and his steel type is Caesar. He actually didn't have that much either. And Dilwar he has a little bit. He has Togetic, Coco, Excadrill, some speed options in Quagsire, which can be like Dragon Hits. So yeah, I don't really like this team that much, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's pretty just basic, I guess. It's different. It's different, but it's not like I don't think it stand out in any way. Um, I mean, Umbreon, I guess, works well with like Frostlass, maybe. I don't know. This it's just weird. I don't quite understand the synergy of the team. Like it just doesn't make too much sense to me. Like why things pair with the things they pair. Um, yeah, I don't quite know uh, what I don't know enough about. Okay, I mean Hill goes walled by steals and Zygarde breaks steals, but they breaks almost everything. Then you have Houndoom that breaks steals, so I guess it works with Nihilego. Um, Breloom doesn't beat like bug or flying types ever, and it's just slow. And I feel like what the team has for flying types or bug types, it has Nihilego, so I guess that works out. Actually, now that I look at it, Azu is. I mean, Azu kind of struggles more with like grass types, electric types, things that resist Aqua Jet, too. And I mean, electric types can be beaten by Zygarde and grass types like by Houndoom, I guess. So I mean, the offense isn't like bad, I guess. I'm just, huh. I guess it's fine. Um, I'm just not used to those mons working with each other. So I think this draft's actually fine. Looking back at it, so yeah, okay, okay. Nars draft. Hmm. So he drafted Volcarona, so like an important thing would just be having removal. So he has Deontay Mega, Rotomawash, Decidueye, and that's really it. And Deontay Mega doesn't really remove; it just has Magic Bounce. And then he has Dragonite, which is also like heavily weak to rocks. So that could be an issue. Only having those removers, though they're relatively reliable removers. So let's be fair. Um, I think Rotom Wash is just great in general. And I think it pairs. I think it pairs okay with like Dragonite. And I think Volcarona actually like I don't really think Volcarona pairs well with much on the team. I think the team is just kind of rock weak. Like even like Stone Ages can kind of deal with the team. Um, I don't think there's like Metagross is great value on, but I don't think it works. Like I mean, I don't think it works as like the only rock answer, just because like rocks can carry Earthquake very very often, or Drill Run or something like that, and he doesn't have a resist outside of Metagross, and that's just iffy, especially when you have Volcarona and Dragonite on your team. And his priority is just like Sucker Punch on Decidueye, Sucker Punch and Rhythm Wash, and like Extreme Speed on Dragonite, which is kind of interesting. Um, and it's not really going to be backing up just Jolteon and Deontay Mega being the only speed on the team. In my opinion, I don't think that that's great. And I guess he has a few viable Scarfers, but not as many as he could have. So I don't necessarily think that's good. For his rockers, he has Pileswine, Deontay Mega, Metagross, and that's about it. Which that's actually not terrible, but I would. I mean, it kind of limits him on what he can bring. I think a Drapion can pursue trap, bulky psychics, but it doesn't seem like that really helps him very much. So it just seems a little bit like he doesn't necessarily know what he's doing, personally. So it's weird. Actually, I forgot to mention Palestine gets priority, but still, um, yeah, that's crazy of me. But I think Jolteon might get quick attack. I don't really know. Um, so I mean, it has some bulk to it. It's threatening, but it's kind of adept in like being able to remove hazards, and I don't think it really works well together too much. I guess like Decidueye and Porygon 2 like can switch into fighting moves, but you mean that's just called having a team with a bunch of typings. It's not called synergize. It's not. Yeah, it doesn't synergize them. It really doesn't, because then there's like fire. Like, am I just gonna switch into Rotom Wash every time, or am I could give up a double and then everything can get toxic and then perfect, right? Um, yeah, that's a great idea. So I just don't really think it synergizes that well compared to the other drafts. Um, yeah, I mean, you can argue, yeah, he has a great cores and stuff, but I mean, even those, yeah, I guess they're all right. Like Metagross covers everything like Dragonite's weak to, but other than Metagross, if you take Metagross out of the team, the team's just kind of iffy. Let's be real. Um, So it's like the whole it's basically the whole team. It has to carry. So I don't like that. How ever having him on having to carry a team. Greg's team. Uh, Again, I like Cortana Tran as a concept. I mentioned this in Beedrill power rankings. And I think Moa is just a pain in the ass to deal with. Okay, but like, hmm, it's just pretty similar to the other draft I mentioned. He drafted Necrozma at first pick. I guess that he. I mean, he said that he hadn't been able to draft that for a while, and he's been wanting to. And I can't blame him. It's pretty good. Uh, and along with Kamo, Aerodactyl, Heat Train, and Dictiola, those are his rockers, and that's quite a few rockers. He has Zapdos, Aerodactyl, Cortana, and that's actually those are his defuggers. Um, I don't know how I feel about this draft. I think it could work. I think Greg probably can make it work. There's a couple mons I like on it, and there's a couple mons like Guard of Omega, which I mean I don't know how it's gonna work with this team. And then but I mean I guess it has a good switch with like Heat Train or because yeah that covers or like Kama can actually switch into Gyro Balls and Shadow Balls. So that's interesting. Um, like for like his knock answer, I guess you could say Kama can kind of absorb knocks, but his dark types kind of walk on him. Um, so yeah. Um, I feel like this was a team where there was a certain typing that it didn't have or something. Well, because I remember watching the other video and they said something like that about this team. I don't remember what it was. It might have been like Dark, which he doesn't have, or Ghost, which he doesn't have. But honestly, I don't think those are too important. On this specific team, it is a little bit important, I think, for Kamao to not have to deal with psychics, and then like nothing really breaks bulky psychics on this team except for Katana, which breaks everything. So it would have been kind of nice to have a dark on this team. Not really a fan of it not having a dark, but Ghost I think is all right. Um, I just think it's gonna have a little bit of trouble with psychics. I don't think it's as bad as the other two think it is though. I think it I don't think you necessarily need a ghost type. I think it has most of his types that he needs. Uh, I mean, I just some mons I just don't think are gonna work in a league like Mega Beedrill. Like, uh, I, I I don't know how OMMO is gonna work really. I think it's kind of difficult to use. I don't know how Greg's gonna use that. Dextro, I'm just not really a fan of that. And uh, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Um, Venusaur, I, is that like did Vileplume get taken at that point? Yeah, it did. Okay, so that makes a little bit of sense. I don't necessarily think that Venusaur is a very good mon though, without Sun or without anything like that. Personally, I just don't. So yeah, and especially I don't like having two grasses that neither one of them resist ground. So that basically gives Zapdos and Aerodactyl as your only arrows, as your only ground resists or immunities, either one. So then arrows actually does absolutely destroy this team. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. My favorite two drafts from here. I's draft is by far the best again. And after that, I'm not gonna go with Narth because Narth's team is probably my least favorite of this group. But if I had to choose between Greg and Rob, rethinking it, I would probably go with Rob. Personally, I think Rob has actually a better draft than I first made it out to be. Um, yeah. I don't. I think it's a decent draft. Illusion draft right here. It's gonna have a little bit of like trouble with ice. I think. First off, I just want to mention that because like Sneasel's not a resist, Salazzle's not a resist. He has four weaknesses, and then he has Snorlax, which has to choose between thick fat and other abilities, and then he has Magneton. So basically, he has like two resists to ice and four weaknesses, and that's an issue. Another issue would probably just be it's not really specially bulky at all, other than Snorlax, which means mixed attackers can be very dangerous, like mixed Nape maybe something like that. Um, so another issue would probably be that well actually. Well, let's try to see what's good about this team. He has um, he has good hazards. Spikes and Taco Spikes with Garbodor, Spikes with Chestnut, Stealth Rocks with Lando T and Swampert, and I think Salazzle gets Toxic Spikes, so that's pretty good. And Pinsir actually gets Stealth Rocks, but I don't think that will be run very much. But Lando T and Latios are the only removers, and I think they're okay, but that's not really. I don't think that's the best decision. And then like Sneasel's his only form of Sneasel and Mimikyu are like and oh actually never mind. He has a pincer. It's down there all the way. He actually got that at the end. And I think Latios gets Sucker now that I think about it too. So he has Latios, Mimikyu, Sneasel, and Pinsir Mega as his priority, which is actually really good now that I think about it. Um, I'm just taking quick quick peeks at this grab. So um, yeah, um, he has a lot of priority. Um, Again, I do think it's a little bit ice weak, and I think Snorlax is actually pretty good on the team because like fighting types are pretty bad. I would say on this against this team. He has Mimikyu, Orlando T, Latios, and Pinsir Mega. That's rough, and like a Rotor can resist too, and Salazzle, but neither one are super bulky. So and Magneton and Lando T and Swampert and all of that can help Mimikyu and Latios out by beating steel types. And even Chestnut is pretty good at that. So that's nice. And then like rock types are generally not that good against this team until you get like to the lower half, like last 4 months or so. So it's kind of nice having like not really being weak to something until you get to the very end of the draft. In my opinion, I don't care. Um, and yeah, okay. So I think it's all right, but it has some weaknesses for sure. Also, Swampert and Lana T both being grants, that's pretty good because you don't have to worry about like you know two different coverages. And then there's the team definitely deals well with stuff like ground types and fighting. So most of the normal things. Flying though is like flying's it dealing with flying itself is actually kind of a mediocre because its only flying resist is 4 times weak to ground. But anyway, so on to Justin's draft. Justin's draft is pretty cool. I think is pretty cool. He has a really great breaker, pretty good speed. He can even pass Nickar and Black. Or to Kiram Black. I've been told I've been saying it wrong. So and then he also can like with Mega Manetric, he can like make some interesting doubles with Mega Manetric into like Kieran Black, and he can just volt around on anything that isn't like a ground type, and everything that is a ground type, he can make doubles into either Kieran Black or he can go into Keldeo, and either one's a good option, or he can go into even Blastoise. on if he's harding into the ground that he thinks he's going to set rocks. So that's those are all interesting options. So like also Keldeo, it's gonna have mainly most of its problems come like by types that four times resist both. So it's gonna be like Vile Plume or two times resist both. Like Vile Plume, maybe D Knight, but D Knight is a four times weakness. Um, so not really. And things like Klefki can really help it with that, and Klefki can help. Like things like Scolipede set up some like sword chances and stuff, or either that or just get up some speed and pass it. And the thing that is passing into you is a lot bulkier. Klefki can set up some spikes, and Yuxi has rocks. Gygar has rocks. Diggersby has spikes, and Grottle has rocks. Blastoise is able to spin, while Gygar has defog. Klefki has defog, and yeah, that's his removal and hazards right there. And Scolipede, I believe, actually has. I forgot Scolipede. Scolipede has spikes and T spikes. Um, so I think this is like pretty scary so far. The his speed is really good. And Diggersby is like it has some pretty good priority, and Keldeo actually gets some as well, but it's not as good. Um, I'm not sure if Yuxi gets Heal Bell, but I think it does. Um, so I think that's good too. Having a cleric because maybe toxic, but I don't even think it's that toxic weak, but and Incineroar is definitely good. I think it patches up some stuff. Like Scolipede, most of the things like Scolipede hates, Incineroar can kind of switch in on, other than maybe Scalds and yeah, Scalds is I mean, taking Scalds. Nothing really appreciates it that much. That's probably the biggest issue with the draft. But I don't think it's too much of a problem. So Jake's draft. You drafted a Megalopony team. Wopany. I don't really care. With the Muckle, that's always on a Megalopony team for like bulkier psychics. That always happens. Ferrothorn can set some managers. Help it sweep. Um, where Togetic, rid of Mo, and yeah, that's his removal. Tyrantrum has rocks, and Palucent has rocks as well, and Kecleon, I believe, has rocks. So Togetic can actually chip things down as well, which I think is pretty nice. And then, um, you know, Togetic, I think with Pharaoh, I actually don't think they pair that well together. Personally, but I think that more so, you could say that like Tyrantrum. I think Tyrantrum actually fits somewhat well with the two, other than it's just a little ice weak. Let's be honest. Um, and Darm isn't really switching to ice. Like it's not really switching to anything. So the team is also a little bit ice weak, other than having Manaphy, and Manaphy is just I don't think that's just I don't think it should be the only ice resist on a team, especially on a team with four ice weaknesses. Okay. Darm can definitely break things for Lopunny to clean too, though. And Reuniclus is just a threatening mon. And great setup sweeper. Tyrantrum, really, really powerful mon again, physically. A lot of this team is physical, other than Manaphy, which Manaphy is also like a good bronze breaker, good cleaner. One huge issue I have about the team, this is huge. I hate this about the team, is beyond Megalopony, it is uber slow. It is the slowest thing. It's the slowest. Um, yeah. So another thing, Rotomo would generally be teams that don't like to switch into like they don't like water types. Usually are gonna have like a Rotomo, but Ferrothorn is pretty good against like waters. It can just kind of like I mean I guess it has a four times weakness to fire, but it can kind of just set up on them. So unless yeah, I just think that um, think it kind of fits. It kind of doesn't. I don't know. It's all right, I guess. I just think that Ferrothorn is a decent switch. Wasn't completely necessary as an electric to get the extra grass typing. Um, Value Sand, I don't really have a problem with it. Um, Manaphy, I just don't like it as a mon, but yeah. I think this draft is alright. It's kind of standard, I guess, for what I've seen to make a opening team. It's not nothing really special. Um, I think it's probably close to where Illusion is as a draft. Maybe it might be better. I think it probably is better. Justin's draft is my favorite of these. Of these three, I haven't done Technos yet. It might be better. He has Greninja, Serp, Heliolisk, and Rabambi for speed, which is really fast. And then he gets webs with Garchomp Mega, and he gets webs with like the whole speed team. So like Scarfers are gonna have a pain in the ass, and then he has Hippowdon with Garchomp Mega, so that's gonna get the Sandforce boost, and that's horrifying. Um, Garchomp Mega has like it's weak to like Ice and Dragon and Fairy, so like Garachi can just tank those hits, and that's kind of scary that it can do that. And Helios actually gets like Sandville, and it's this team can definitely break through water types um, as well, just with having Heliolisk. I don't know if Sandville is even legal because I had Sand and Heliolisk last season. I didn't use Sandville. I know that. Moltres is really underrated defensive mon as well, and as long as he has good removal, which I haven't checked yet, it would do well. So his removal is superior, Rabombi, Moltres itself, and like Driftbloom and Stuntank. So that's not really that great, but it's versatile. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't know if that will do that well with Moltres. My voice is starting to hurt. So like Conkeldurr and Greninja are the priority of the team mainly, and Sucker Punch, Skuntank can also come. So yeah, the Bow Down and Superior I think actually work well together, kind of. Other than they share an ice weakness, and if you look at the team, there isn't like a whole lot the team has for ice other than Jirachi. So it will have to kind of overuse Jirachi a little bit, which is the same flaw with Nart's team. That it's over relying on something, which is definitely a thing, especially for Monza without recovery. And then Greninja, Rabombi, Hippowdon, Garchomp Mega, and I don't know. I don't know if Skuntank gets T spikes. I don't think it does, but possibly that. So his hazards are like, oh, in Jirachi, if I didn't mention it, are pretty good. I think it's like kind of like a scarier offensive team. It's really offensive. It barely has like true walls. So um, it's interesting. It definitely has some cool mons. Like Greninja is really cool. I would have liked to have seen like Z Serp because we've seen that done in the Hive before. I think it was pretty good. Um, uh, and yeah, the team's kind of frail though. That's all. That's my biggest knock on it. It doesn't have ice switching other than Jirachi, so it's gonna need to bring that every week pretty much. And like it's just kind of frail. Its just removal isn't that good. But I think it's so threatening offensively, and Conkeldurr is just a monster too. Um, so I think this draft in Jake's draft though. I think I'm gonna go with Techno's draft just because I think it's a lot more threatening, and I think Techno and Justin probably have the best drafts there. Um, this is one more row that just gonna go through, and I don't know what that is. Turks last Wonder Swallow. Um, it's Turdinator. Okay. So yeah, he has a Boo Krook. Um, okay. Uh, Boo Krook. I'm not a fan, but okay. Moving on. Mew and I think Mew and Krook pair pretty well. Um, Boo actually resists like dark moves from Mew. Uh, Sharpedo also does that, which is kind of interesting. Is like so many dark resists up there. And then Cobalion takes knockoffs for days. So I like that about the team. Um, he has some great answers for like bulkier waters, and those can deal with things like Krook, and maybe maybe Mew. I don't know, depending on the set he brings. Um, so that's interesting. His speed use are pretty good, I think. For rocks, he has Krook, Mawile, Cobalion, and he has Quillfish for hazards as well, and he has Mew. So those are pretty good. His removals like Dalmizzy, Swallow, uh, Quillfish removes toxic spikes, and Mew can remove. um, but yeah, I think this looks like a solid team. Sharpedo Mega, it just struggles to break bulkier Pokemon. I think it's just like a cleaner. And I think the team has enough to work around it. I'm not really a fan of Turdinator, but it might be good. I've never used it, so I can't really knock on it too much, but it doesn't seem like it would be that great. Um, anyways, I think this draft looks fine. Um, and I just want to move on to the next draft. Um, because but the only issue I have really back with Turk's draft. The issue I have is Capabulu plus Crocodile. Come on, what? You don't even have like a way to remove your terrain. Like, there are ways to do it. Like, you could have like I don't know, splintered Starkstorms, and then like I don't know, that works. Anyways, Jack's draft. This looks like something I've seen drafted before. It might have been like in the MPL, kind of looked like this a little bit. Um, but anyways, it has some great breaking on both sides, especially with Gengar. Gengar like didn't break anything, but it's a little specially oriented. Uh, Other than like Donphan, Talonflame, and the monster Gallade Mega. Uh, hmm, Seems interesting. For his removal, he has a Donphan, Empoleon, Hydreigon, and Talonflame. Sort of, not really, but sort of. Um, I'm just gonna say technical defoggers because why not? Or even spinners, whatever. Because there are technical spinners. Um, and then there's like for setting is Stunfisk, Donphan, Toxapex with T spikes, Empoleon, and that's it. But that's all right. Um, Talon is like a good priority. Which, speaking of, on the last draft, he had Swallow, which is good, and Mew, I guess, has priority, but he has Donphan on. Jack has Donphan too, and I believe Glade gets Shadow Sneak and a Vacuum Wave. I think it gets. So that's interesting. I don't know if Gengar gets Sneak, but it's probably terrible. And Empoleon gets Aqua Jet. Um. So like, for me, Glade Mega, it doesn't need Psychics to be broken. So having Hydreigon and Gengar there is pretty nice. And then you especially it's nice for Pex as well. I think Pex and Hydreigon pair very well. And I think like Shaman, it also kind of covers a little bit of the problems Toxapex has, and even more so with Empoleon's problems. But it would seem like you would want like Wish here. So I think Audino is a really good pick. And I think Donphan is pretty good. Gardevoir, um, I think as a fairy, it's all right. I guess. Um, it's not the bulkiest thing, but it's like a decent breaker. But he has a lot of breakers already. So I would have liked, I think actually it's fine. Um, I think it just works out pretty well. This draft too. I think it's a solid draft. I think all these drafts so far are like, for the most part, pretty solid. Um, TCMTL. He has a Finny, a Nape, a Mamo, a Mandibuzz, a Registeel, a Zoroark, an Excelgor, a Celebi, a Craganola, a Skeptile Mega, and a Crawdont. And he just weakened his Skeptile Mega's Dragon Stab and stopped Toxics from working on Mandibuzz and Registeel. Okay, not really thinking that was smart, but okay. I hate Finny. So his hazards are Celebi, Registeel, Infernape, Mamoswine, and Excelgor. So, and his removal is like Mandibuzz, Cragonal, I think, which is kind of, and Finny. Okay, all right. Seems like it's interesting how he didn't choose an electric and he chose two grasses. I I don't know about that. I don't know what to think about that. Seems to deal with dragons pretty well. Fairies do like too much to this draft though. Uh, yeah, Registeel's like the only thing for fairies, which just kind of decimate. Doesn't have a poison type, and its fire type doesn't resist. So that kind of, and he has a lot of weaknesses. He has Crawdont, Skepta, Mega, Zoroark, and Mandibuzz because he drafted three dark types. So he has four fairy weaknesses, which is just really bad. And then he has a little bit of a fighting weakness too with Mamo, Zoroark, Dragonite, and Crawdont. So yeah, I just yeah. Uh, his offense pairs okay together. I'll be honest, but he has a lot of weaknesses just because of the dark types. Even has quite a bit of a bug weakness with Skeptile, Mega, Crawdont, Celebi, Zoroark, physically frail Cragonal, which actually all five of those pretty much died in U-turns. So that's scary. Actually having a bug weakness is like what? Um, yeah, it's way too many dark types. I think on one team. But you could say dark spam, but whatever. I don't think that's a good idea. So then Joel, he okay, okay. I've heard he had a Z Pikachu, and that's I don't know what to say. Anyways, this team it has only two fast Pokemon with Thundy and Azelf. Uh, it's almost not like Men's and Scissor do well together. Uh, Mince and yeah, they both do well like Primarina. Tangrowth is like, you know, just Tangrowth, kind of broken, but he doesn't have like fast fire offense that that really helps out Tangrowth. So I think this is a lot worse than his team last season. His hazards, they're like Nidoqueen, Azelf, Deontay, and that's about it. For removal, he has like Thundy, Scissor, Mence, and yeah, that's it. So it's not that much. I mean, I just don't. It's not a lot good. I mean, it's just a lot of wall breakers, some bulk, not really much, a little bit of speed. I mean, it's like kind of balancy, but I don't think it's that good, honestly. I think the best drafts in this is Turk and Jack, which means I think the people who got the earlier picks generally did better. So, which is interesting. Other than, did I say Wajan or did I say Hiker? Um, one of those two. So yeah, I think the people that got the earlier picks did better, have better drafts. So maybe that's just me. But well, generally, I actually think Techno has a good draft too. I mentioned that. And I mentioned that Jake, I actually think has a good draft as well. I think I chose Techno's draft in that, but Jake is still a good draft there, I think. So yeah, that wraps up this video. Um, yeah, honey hunting. My voice is pretty much dead, so I'm not going to do anything else today, which would be the Kakuna stuff. So this would probably lead me to like 135 honey, um, which is ridiculous. Um, so yeah, I'll bring you back another video sometime this